the moment he gracefully descended and touched the surface of the Red Sea. An unsuspecting predator struck with lightning speed. In a scene reminiscent of a Hollywood blockbuster, a shark, like a formidable force of nature, leaped out of the water, its powerful jaws aiming for the man's exposed leg. Eyewitnesses standing by the shoreline were frozen in terror as they watched the harrowing attack unfold. The ferocious predator's gaping mouth closed around the man's leg, inflicting devastating injuries in the blink of an eye. A moment of sheer terror ensued as the paraglider desperately
Shouting his father's name will only attract the fish quickly, so he kept silent while panicking and praying for his dad to rise from the water. He also feared that his dad might have swam far from the boat. Suddenly, he saw a rushing wave approaching the canoe from underneath the ocean. Thinking it was a shark, Thomas quickly started the engine to drive as fast as he could. Meanwhile, Harry was swimming frantically toward the boat with all his strength. Despite being old enough, the grandpa didn't want to die on his birthday. On seeing his dad swimming towards him, Thomas stopped the boat to lend a hand to assist Harry. Immediately, he held Harry's hand and started pulling him up. As the older man kept his left leg in the water, he felt a sense of relief, thinking he was somewhat protected up there. However, his relief was short-lived when suddenly a powerful force yanked him back into the water with a sharp pull. The tiger shark, 8 feet long, clamped its teeth on Harry's ankle, making him release an excruciating cry. Thomas desperately clung to his father's hand, exerting all of his strength to pull him out of the shark's mouth. However, it soon became clear that the shark's grip was too powerful, making it impossible to free his father from its jaws. With experiences he had while sailing, Harry uses his right leg to release kicks on the shark's face and snout. He did this with all his might until the shark released its grip. Thomas, who never left his dad's side, quickly pulled him onto the unbalanced boat. With blood dripping excessively from Harry's ankle, Thomas quickly returned to the engine, but it failed to start. He kicked it several times, but the engine refused to roar. The time wasted provided the shark with another opportunity and took full advantage of it. Charging against the boat, the shark collided with great force, causing the boat to somersault and eject its contents, including the captured fish and the occupants, into the water. As a result of the collision, Thomas and Harry were separated, with Thomas finding himself on the side nearer to the beach, while the injured Harry remained in grave peril in the water. By this time, everyone at the beach was aware of the brawl inside the water. Tourists playing in the shallow parts have all scrambled out while panicking. Everyone was praying for the survival of Dad and son, but no one dared venture in to rescue them. Even Joe couldn't. Sharks are known to get easily attracted to blood, and with blood gushing out of Harry's wound, it isn't difficult to locate. Immediately after the boat capsized, Thomas began swimming frantically toward the bank, believing his dad would do the same. However, Harry couldn't swim well, with one of his legs injured. In no time, the shark caught up with him and swallowed him halfway. From a sharp bite that could crack the skull, his legs to his waist were in the shark's mouth. Harry could do nothing, with much of his energy exhausted from the first attack. He flung his arms around, but they were powerless, intensifying the pain. By the time Harry was about to be chewed in two, Thomas had swum ashore, and with the rest, he watched as the predator was gnashing his father. After the shark swam away, the lifeguards came to rescue Harry's remains. His upper part to his abdomen were recovered, but what good could that do? He was confirmed dead and buried the next day beside the beach, with a huge cenotaph erected. His family, however, said they wouldn't leave the country until the shark was caught, which made the authorities initiate a search, and the shark was located after a day of searching. When it was captured...
In the wake of these distressing events, Aqaba found itself grappling with an air of apprehension. Residents and visitors alike questioned the safety of indulging in water activities in an area traditionally known for its allure and tranquility. However, authorities sought to reassure the public, emphasizing that the Royal Jordanian Navy remained vigilant, steadfastly guarding the beaches. Water sports and other recreational pursuits continued unabated, hoping to restore confidence in the face of adversity. Reflecting on the broader context, it became apparent that shark attacks in the Red Sea were not exclusive to Aqaba. Past incidents further south off the Egyptian coast had seen innocent individuals fall prey to these formidable surrounding these harrowing shark attacks. Until then, the injured individuals remained in the care of dedicated medical professionals, battling to recover from the physical and emotional trauma inflicted by these terrifying encounters. The tales of the paraglider and the other victims who were attacked by these apex predators of the deep served as stark reminders of the unpredictability and awe-inspiring power of nature. It evoked a sense of fear and reverence for the vast expanse of the Red Sea and the creatures that call it home. While the scars of the incident would forever mark the survivors, The collective hope remained that Aqaba would find solace in the knowledge that these attacks were rare anomalies in the enchanting tapestry of its coast.
And everyone was thrown upside down. During this keeling over, Russell's calf got slit by something metal, and blood started gushing out. But no one minded that, including the victim. They quickly jumped into the water while Ed pumped up an 8-foot-long dinghy, and the panicked crew climbed onto it. Hayden could have powered the dinghy, but the darkness deprived them of the opportunity of using their handheld compass. They waited fearfully for dawn, so they could sail back to safety. Immediately as the sky gave way to dawn's clear light, the dinghy was forcefully nudged forward, making everyone on board shake. Angela noticed that the dinghy was pushed by nothing other than a shark, and 3 huge sharks even surrounded them. Terrified, she screamed to alert the others of her discovery. With the sky clear and the shark knowing their prey, they ran toward them full force. Hayden wouldn't have time to check the compass to see whether the route was correct. He simply started the engine and propelled forward. Blood oozing from Russell's leg was a clear trail for the sharks, who relentlessly pursued their prey. With determination, they closed in and launched another attack upon catching up. After several hours of sailing on the endless waters, the engine's fuel ran out, and it stopped. One of the sharks running after the dinghy rammed into it, knocking it over. The sharks immediately went for Russell, who was inviting them with his wound, and they devoured him among themselves. His excruciating scream was only heard once, as the predator didn't give him a second chance. His screams were abruptly silenced as the jaws of a shark clamped tightly around him, tearing his head from his body. This incident sent shivers through Angela's body, and she went dazed into the water not until Hayden shook her and pulled her onto the reset dinghy. By the time all these struggles ended, it was very dark. The remaining crew members were overcome with exhaustion, dehydration, and an overwhelming sense of fear. With an uncertainty of what awaited them the following day, their emotions ran high, and a sense of trepidation gripped their hearts. By the third day, the conditions of the survivors worsened. They seemed to have been on the wrong side of the ocean as no vessel was sighted. As hunger and thirst intensified, Hayden's desperation grew. In a moment of desperation, he decided to drink the seawater, hoping to alleviate his torment. As he bent down toward the water, he slipped and fell into it. It was as if a shark was lurking somewhere because it had clamped its teeth into his thigh, within a bat of an eyelid. Although Ed and Angela watched the attack, they lost the energy to protect their compatriot. Hayden was so exhausted, but with fear of the same fate as Russell, a surge of adrenaline made him gather his energy into his arm and punch the shark in its gill. After that, he dug his hand into the gill and pulled at it with all his might. The shark released his prey and then went back into the abyss. The journey back to the dinghy wasn't easy, but Hayden still managed to go on, fearing his blood might attract many other sharks. Fortunately, a Monaco-bound cargo ship was spotted on the horizon. Ed and Angela waved frantically. Angela had to remove her red scarf and use it as a flag before they were sighted. Their desperation turned to joy when they were thrown life rings.
Paradise. The scorching summer of 1916 settled upon the Jersey shore, casting a sweltering haze over the sandy beaches. Little did the sun-soaked vacationers know that a sinister presence lurked beneath the surface of the inviting Atlantic waters. The Jersey shore shark attacks were about to unfold, casting a long shadow of terror and forever altering the perception of these enigmatic creatures. The first attack struck with a vicious burst, further shattering the illusion of safety. A Swiss bell captain, Charles Bruder, ventured into the waters off of Spring Lake. Little did he know a formidable predator had already singled him out as its next target. The tranquil surface of the ocean erupted as the shark surged forward, its powerful jaws clamping down on Bruder's abdomen.
Up for his sweetheart. Being a good swimmer at Budapest lakes and swimming pools, Olivia entered the water while holding on to the boat. She occasionally throws water at Elias, urging him to swim with her. However, he remained adamant about staying on the boat. A few minutes into this, Elias heard a scream and a sudden thug at the boat. He quickly rose to see his wife struggling to stay afloat. Elias dived into the water without thinking twice to check what was holding his wife's leg. When he discovers an enormous great white shark biting at both legs of his wife, he charges his blows at the shark's nose, believing it to be one of the beast's weak points. The aggressive white shark held on to Olivia, but had to release its grip when Elias didn't stop hitting its nose. Elias held Olivia and swam upward till their heads could be seen. He screamed for help, but the loud pops and reggae at the beach deprived anyone of hearing. They had to keep moving, so Elias held Olivia's hand as he swam towards the shore. Olivia couldn't guide herself to the shore because both legs were badly damaged during the struggle with the predator. After some meters left to reach the shallow part of the water, the shark attacked again and swallowed Olivia up to her arm. Just as Elias was about to react and reach out to grab the shark, it violently tore apart her body, leaving only her arm in Elias's clutches. He couldn't narrate how he reached the shore. He rushed back to Avila while holding on to his wife's arm. Seeing this, Avila hurriedly approached a lifeguard and talked about what transpired in the ocean's depths. Swift action was taken, and helicopters were deployed to search the area, but neither Olivia nor the shark could be seen. The search went on for days, but it remained fruitless. Elias waited for 3 days, hoping that at least his wife's remains would be found. Still, when the search yielded nothing, he canceled the vacation.
As the people of Matawan Creek sought to trap and eliminate the elusive predator. Yet the shark proved a cunning adversary, evading capture with an eerie intelligence. It remained a phantom of terror lurking in the shadows, ready to strike any moment. But amidst the relentless onslaught of the shark's fury, a flicker of hope emerged from the darkness as Joseph Dunn, a 14-year-old boy, would become the final victim to face the razor teeth and relentless hunger of the predator. Near the Wyckoff dock, the nightmare unfolded as the shark lunged at Dunn, its malevolence radiating through the water. With fierce determination, Dunn fought back, his screams summoning his brother and friend to his aid, to geared predators. Over a century has passed since the blood-soaked summer of terror, but the exact nature of the attacks and the species responsible remain subjects of debate among researchers. The enduring legacy of the Jersey Shore shark attacks serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the fragile balance between humanity and the natural world. It stands as a chilling, the bay stretched out like a welcoming embrace, its crystalline waters caressing the sandy shores. Towering palm trees swayed harmoniously with the gentle breeze, casting dappled shadows on the golden sand. The air was thick with anticipation, echoing the thrill of discovery that permeated the divers' hearts. The trio embarked on a daring plan to explore a profound mystery, a deep project at an awe-inspiring depth of 210 feet. Nestled against a backdrop, Jake embarks on a daring expedition, driven by a desire to explore the ocean's depths and come face to face with the legendary great white shark. His quest for adventure and the pursuit of pushing his limits propel him into an exhilarating encounter with this enigmatic creature of the deep. With the year 2020 painted across the canvas of Seabreeze, Jake Harrison eagerly readies himself for a thrilling kayaking expedition. Fastening his trusted vessel, the Wave Rider, to his vehicle with care, his heart brims with anticipation. The open sea beckons him, promising unforgettable encounters and a profound bond with nature. As Jake sets his kayak adrift from the safety of the shore, each stroke of his paddle propels him farther from the familiar and deeper into the uncharted waters. Excitement courses through his veins, fueling his imagination as he envisions the hidden treasures and marvels that await beneath the surface, yearning to be unveiled. As Jake paddles further into the open sea, a disturbance in the water catches his attention. A swirl of turbulence beyond his vision sends a shiver down his spine. He strains his eyes, trying to make sense of it all. Like a ghostly apparition, Neptune, the mysterious great white shark, emerges from the depths. Its sleek and powerful form commands respect, captivating Jake's gaze. The contrasting colors of its pure white underbelly against the deep blue ocean create a sight that leaves him in awe and sends chills down his spine. With graceful movements, Neptune begins to circle Jake's kayak, the water swirling around it with predator-like precision. Each revolution tightens the tension, making Jake keenly aware of his vulnerability. The circling intensifies, conveying a sense of dominance and foreboding. Locked in a silent struggle for control, Jake meets Neptune's gaze. He senses the power and intelligence radiating from this ancient predator. The realization sinks in. He has entered Neptune's domain, and the consequences of his curiosity must now be faced. As Neptune continues its circling, a palpable shadow looms over Jake. Every instinct tells him that this encounter will determine his fate. The weight of the moment hangs in the air, intensifying with each passing second. With deliberate movements, Neptune's purpose becomes clear. Jake feels the weight of its presence, connecting him to the primal forces of nature. He realizes the delicate balance between life and death, aware that he stands on the edge of becoming a chapter in the great white shark's legend. Neptune lunges towards Jake's kayak in a split second, jaws wide open, ready to attack. The presence of the great white shark becomes a terrifying reality. With lightning-fast reflexes, Jake maneuvers his kayak just in time, narrowly avoiding Neptune's teeth by mere inches. Adrenaline courses through his veins, sharpening his senses and focusing his mind on the battle for survival. Undeterred by Jake's evasion, Neptune relentlessly pursues him, escalating the sense of danger with each passing moment. Drawing on his kayaking expertise, Jake skillfully navigates through treacherous waters, using sharp turns and clever tactics to stay ahead of Neptune's pursuit. As the chase intensifies, the tension mounts. Every stroke of Jake's paddle and maneuver is crucial for his survival. The realization sinks in that he's in a race against time, against an unyielding predator. Pushed to his limits, Jake spots a ray of hope, a nearby rocky outcrop that could provide a temporary refuge from Neptune's relentless pursuit. With unwavering determination, he makes a daring move toward this potential sanctuary. Neptune, refusing to give up, becomes more aggressive and erratic in its pursuit, sensing that its prey is attempting to escape. The stakes are higher now, and Jake's fight for survival reaches a critical point. Desperate and driven, Jake harnesses his resilience to outsmart Neptune, using every resource to overcome the overwhelming odds. As Jake clings to the rocky outcrop, a powerful wave crashes against the rocks, causing him and Neptune to jostle. The unexpected impact momentarily disrupts their battle, throwing them off balance. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, Jake capitalizes on Neptune's disorientation. With agile movements, he frees himself from the rocky outcrop and propels himself away from danger while Neptune regains its bearings. Emerging from this heart-pounding ordeal, Jake carries a profound transformation within him. The encounter with Neptune has forever changed his perspective on the fragility and power of life. As word spreads throughout Seabreeze, the community becomes captivated by Jake's extraordinary story. The tale quickly spreads, solidifying its place in the town's lore. The legend of Neptune, forever intertwined with Jake's story, takes root in the hearts and minds of Seabreeze's residents. It's symbolic of this ugly incident. A great white shark sunk its sharp teeth into his body. June felt something come down on his legs like a giant vice and then crushed his back and chest. Unable to shout underwater, he wiggled vigorously to call the attention of Kim, who became terrified. And instead of rushing forward to save his compatriot, he rose from the water. Meanwhile, the others on the yacht have been calling them for 10 minutes, but they couldn't hear underwater. One of the females on board noticed a dorsal fin gliding around the yacht. She just shrugged it off, knowing it could not harm the enormous yacht. Her countenance changed after she remembered June and Kim were underneath the water. She called on the rest, and they yelled out Kim and June's names to no avail. When Kim laterally raised his head, the sailor sailed over and was helped into the yacht. He kept panting while thinking about what had happened. Despite their fear, they were not courageous enough to enter the water and rescue June. They stood there, frozen in terror, helplessly watching the distressing scene unfold. June was well versed in his knowledge of sea creatures, so he knew he was bitten by a 12-foot white shark, which he couldn't fight off. After Kim escaped, the fearsome predator bit more forcefully into June and began shaking him violently. Instead of struggling to free himself, what June did next was astonishing. He suddenly went limp and played dead to the beast. It may be one of the worst decisions ever, but June had to take a risk. As a result, the shark carried him 16 feet into the sea before releasing him from its dagger-like jaw and swarming away. After staying limp for another 10 minutes, June looked around slowly to check if the beast was still lurking around. With no sign of the shark in the vicinity, he mustered the strength to swim upward. However, as he propelled himself through the water, waves of pain shot through his body from the sustained injury, causing him to silently groan. He was sighted from afar by the yacht, and they quickly sailed to him and dragged him out of the water. One of Kim's friends, a doctor based in Seoul, swiftly assessed his condition and discovered 20 tooth wounds spanning his chest. Urgently, the doctor stressed the need to reach a hospital without delay. The yacht's work, each movement deliberate and focused. Temple, ever vigilant, maintained a watchful eye on their surroundings. It was then that his gaze fixated on two figures emerging from the distant depths, a pair of white-tipped sharks. One, an imposing creature measuring approximately 12 feet long, commanded the trio's attention. The oceanic white-tipped shark, a formidable predator, possessed a mesmerizing presence beneath the waves. Its sleek body, cloaked in a subtle blend of gray and brown hues, exuded power and grace. A distinct white hue adorned its belly, standing in stark contrast to the depths it prowled. Razor-sharp teeth adorned its jaws, a testament to its predatory prowess. While the presence of sharks was not unheard of, their close proximity to the shore stirred a sense of intrigue within the divers. It was an anomaly that ignited curiosity tinged with apprehension. Almost oblivious to the presence of the divers, Gilliam found this behavior peculiar, for he had encountered aggressive white-tipped sharks during previous dives farther offshore. Following their plan, Temple was to be the last to ascend. Gilliam and McIlvaine waited anxiously, suspended at around 175 feet, resting on the coral bed. Time seemed to stretch as Temple's delay persisted, fueling McIlvaine's growing unease about suspended 400 feet below the surface. Summoning an indomitable will to survive, Gilliam summoned every ounce of strength and resolve. His oxygen-starved brain fought against the encroaching grip of hypoxia, determined to resist its treacherous embrace. Each kick propelled him upward, defying the oppressive weight of the ocean's depths. Miraculously, Gilliam awakened, disoriented and gasping for breath. He expelled air in convulsive bursts, the small reserve trapped within his safety vest buoying him toward salvation. Relief mingled with the grim realization that omitted decompression loomed over him, threatening the fragile equilibrium of his body. The aftermath of the ordeal took a heavy toll on Gilliam. His limbs were plagued by numbness, his eyesight clouded, and the darkness of partial blindness took hold of one eye as a permanent reminder of the shark's ferocious attack.
The great white shark was speeding with its full strength and attacked Rodrigo, sending him straight into the water. The others quickly scampered through the water to save their lives. They'd forgotten that someone was left with the shark. He would never forget the agonizing sensation of the shark's bite on his leg. Rodrigo tried to break free from the shark's grip, but it wasn't easy. The shark was about 8 feet long with very sharp teeth, with which it clamped onto Rodrigo's calf and pulled him underneath the water. Before pulling him into the water, Rodrigo could catch a glimpse of the shark despite excruciating pain. The sight of the massive predator was enough to send shivers down his spine. As he was pulled below the waves, he fought hard to remember the advice he had heard about surviving a shark attack. To fend off the shark, he tried to aim for its nose and left eye with punches. However, unable to reach those targets, he resorted to striking the shark's gills instead. After the shark dipped in and out of the water twice, his hand hit the shark's snout. Packing the remaining energy into his fist, he started hitting it severely, not minding how the predator was gnashing his flesh. As blood oozed from his wounds, the color of the water transformed, yet this didn't dissuade Rodrigo from persevering in his efforts to free himself. Fortunately for him, the shark loosened its grip. He didn't wait for it to relaunch its attack as he swam out of the shark's jaw. Rodrigo had difficulty swimming ashore because of his mangled leg, but he didn't dare to stop because he wasn't out of danger yet. He was still in open water, 200 yards from the safety of the shore. Rodrigo began to swim as he could towards the shore, panicking, knowing that the shark might follow, the blood gushing from his crushed leg. 40 yards from the shore, in grave danger. He quickly calls on Maria to come ashore and grabs a club lying on the beach. A ferocious bull shark clamped onto Levi's arm. Initially feeling the intense pressure, he instinctively attempted to pry it off. However, his efforts only revealed the true horror: a tenacious 8-foot-long shark securely fastened to his arm. One might not realize the love he has for his son until something terrible happens. Henry exhibited astonishing bravery as he swam towards his son. He saw the predator's teeth clamped around his son's arm. Levi was screaming, "Get it off me!" to his dad, and "Let me go!" to the shark, and blood pumping out of the bite. Henry sprung into action and hit the shark's head with his club. The shark wiggled, trying to take the arm as his prize, but Henry didn't want that to happen. He kept hitting the predator's head while it kept gnashing at the preteen's arm. Henry didn't want to let go, but he noticed that his hits didn't produce much result on the shark, so he targeted the eyes with a resounding blow. The shark recoiled, but it still held on to the kid's arm, onto his chest. The shark was trying to eat him alive. Within the twinkling of an eye, Demir had found himself inside the jaw of a 10-foot-long shark as its piercing teeth sunk into his flesh. This enormous predator tried to swallow him whole, pressing its jaw over his head and chest, fortunately protected by his diving gear. When Demir opened his eyes inside the shark's jaw, it was very dark, and he couldn't see anything because he was looking back at his throat. One thing that came to his mind was survival, which gave him new hope. After the shark took its first bite, which was less severe due to the protection of the swimming gear, it attempted to bite Demir again before vigorously shaking him. Demir felt the immense horizontal shaking, and it was really hard that he thought it would be the end. Fortunately, his fighting instinct kicked in at this point, and he unthinkingly groped around using his hand. In a desperate situation, Demir discovers an eye socket and forcefully digs his thumb into it, using all of his strength. The shark felt the pain and quickly released its captive. Demir used this opportunity to swim out of the shark's mouth and propel himself upward, swimming fast towards the shore, with blood seeping out of his injuries. While swimming ashore, Demir looked back and saw the shark following the blood trail and speeding toward him. He gathered the remaining ounce of energy in him and plunged towards the shore. Luckily for him, he reached the shallow part when the shark caught up to him, and it clamped onto the diving fin. Demir yelled to the tourist on the beach, who came to his rescue. They quickly removed the diving fin from his gear and carried him to the sandy beach. Demir was one of the few people
When he remembered because his wife had disappeared from the water. Despite being injured, he stood up instantly and called on Roa, but did not answer. Roa, swimming alone and facing the shore, remained oblivious to the shark stealthily approaching from beneath. In a swift and sudden attack, the shark clamped its jaws around her, swiftly dragging her beneath the water, leaving her no chance to scream. Water forcefully went down her throat, which hurt like hell. She frantically struggled and raised her head to the water again, which made Zion see her. As he attempted to enter the water with the predator, one of the tourists at the beach held him down. His resounding yell of his wife's name had made tourists gather around the area, so they quickly stopped him from joining the death struggle. So he watched as Roa struggled to free herself from the shark's mouth. Lifeguards hadn't started work because it was still early in the morning. After a few minutes, the shark ruthlessly tore her apart and swiftly retreated into the depths of the water. The surrounding water transformed, becoming a gruesome crimson shade as it absorbed the tragic scene. Zion stood holding Amal, and he had turned pale from the shock of the attack. Amal observed the unfolding events with a sense of apprehension, realizing that the outcome would have adverse consequences for her. Some minutes after, saw the aggressive predator, and by that time his blood was flowing out. While screaming for help, Peter tried fighting off the shark as it mauled his leg. His dad caught up with him and held onto him while he kicked the predator. He kicked hard at it while Peter punched it with his power while groaning in pain. The pair kicked and punched for a while, but the shark didn't let go. Peter's hands were bleeding and mixed with sand, but his hopes were still intact, giving him the adrenaline to continue. After kicking for a while, Adams tried to pry open the shark's mouth so that his son could be free, but his hand got scratched without him being successful. He began punching at every part of the shark's head. His punch at the gill affected the beast, and it released its grip on Peter. Adam pulled at his son and dragged him out of the shark's jaw. Peter's flesh was tangled with the predator's teeth, making him scream painfully as his dad pulled. Fortunately for them, Evelyn called lifeguards who came with 2 boats, one to rescue them and drive ashore their senses, offering a glimpse into an untouched world. However, as they venture deeper, a shadow emerges from the depths, an enormous great white shark named Maelstrom, its presence ominous and foreboding. Fear seizes their hearts as they realize the imminent danger. Instinctively, they draw closer together, finding solace in their shared connection. The once calm waters now transform into a battleground as Maelstrom encircles them, its menacing presence shattering the serenity of their journey. Tension fills the water as the Montgomery family confronts the gravity of the situation. Their hearts beat in unison with the powerful thrashing of Maelstrom's tail, a stark reminder of their vulnerability. United by their unwavering bond, they huddle together, drawing strength from one another as the calm ocean gives way to a turbulent battlefield. With adrenaline surging through their veins, the Montgomerys summon their collective courage and resourcefulness to outmaneuver the relentless predator. Captain Daniel, their experienced leader, takes charge, quickly formulating a plan to protect his beloved family. Emily, the quick-thinking and nurturing mother, tightly holds her children, her gaze scanning the surroundings for any possible escape route. Lily, the agile and curious daughter, uses her knowledge of the ocean's currents to guide the family towards a rocky outcrop that could provide temporary shelter. Ethan, the brave and resilient son, aids his father in constructing a makeshift barrier, hoping to buy precious seconds against Maelstrom's ferocious assault. Maelstrom strikes with lightning speed as they desperately swim through the turbulent waters, its razor-sharp teeth sinking into Lily's leg. Pain and panic ripple through their collective consciousness as they witness Lily's struggle to break free from the shark's grip. Blood tinges on the water, signaling the severity of Lily's injury. With a surge of determination, the Montgomerys rally together, their love propelling them to protect Lily at all costs. They fight against the current, their strokes gaining strength and purpose, desperately seeking a haven amidst the chaos. Just as despair begins to settle over their hearts, a divine intervention materializes in the form of a passing fishing boat. Alerted by the battle ensues between Captain Daniel and Maelstrom. Armed with a harpoon, Captain Daniel displays unwavering bravery and skill, exploiting the predator's vulnerabilities. With each well-aimed strike, the family's hope surges, knowing their beloved Lily is receiving the care she desperately needs. Captain Daniel delivers a decisive blow in a final climactic encounter, fatally wounding Maelstrom. The great white shark, once a symbol of terror, now floats lifelessly in the water. The Montgomerys breathe a collective sigh of relief, their ordeal finally coming to an end. However, a sense of unease lingers as they gather their strength and prepare to leave the scene. The ocean's surface ripples with an eerie stillness, as if nature itself mourns the loss of its apex predator. The family can't shake the feeling that there may be more lurking beneath the depths, waiting to fill the void left by Maelstrom's demise. With mixed emotions, the Montgomerys bid farewell to Seashore Bay, carrying their wounded family members' ongoing recovery as a reminder of the harrowing encounter. The legend of Maelstrom, the great white shark, lives on in the town, cautioning others about the untamed power of the ocean. As they sail away, a somber silence settles upon the family. They ponder the fragile balance of nature, knowing that even in the face of victory, the ocean remains an enigmatic and unpredictable force. The memory on the picturesque shores of an unnamed island. The year is 1995. This serene location, renowned for its pristine beaches and crystal-clear waters, is a haven for locals and tourists alike. It is in this tranquil setting that our story unfolds. Meet Sarah Thompson, an adventurous marine biologist passionate about understanding the ocean's secrets. Driven by curiosity and a thirst for knowledge, Sarah spends her days studying the marine life that thrives off the island's coast. Accompanying Sarah on her expedition is her trusted colleague and friend, David Matthews, an experienced scuba diver and wildlife enthusiast. Together, they form a dedicated team, working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the underwater world. Their research takes them to a secluded cove between towering cliffs and lush vegetation. This hidden gem holds a rich history, whispered by generations of fishermen and seafarers who have passed down tales of its beauty and the creatures that call it home. As Sarah and David gear up for their dive, anticipation fills the air. Little do they know that their expedition will soon take an unexpected turn. The underwater paradise they had envisioned is about to reveal a formidable challenge. Beneath the tranquil surface, a great white shark lurks, drawn to the abundance of marine life in the cove. Unbeknownst to Sarah and David, this predator, known as Shadow, has become a legend in these waters, a symbol of both awe and danger. The conflict arises when Sarah and David find themselves amid Shadow's hunting grounds. As they explore the vibrant coral reefs, encountering the great white shark becomes inevitable. The tranquility leads to a heart-pounding chase as Shadow closes in on his unsuspecting prey. Sarah and David, fueled by their knowledge and instincts, must navigate the treacherous waters with skill and determination. Their goal is not to conquer or harm Shadow, but to outmaneuver him and